Well, I figured I'd shoot down to the local power sports dealer and check out a couple PWCs. That's right, because I think SK Lifestyle is back in the market for 2027. That's right. So I just wanted to see what they got out here, and yeah, just kind of get a look. And of course, you may know that the new Seadoos are dropping in about a week, so I'm interested to see what they have to offer, what the difference is going to be, if there's any kind of new Spark X out there. Of course, that's the big latest kind of, you know, hoopla out there on the internet, so we'll see. And yeah, I just kind of want to get my eyes on some of the latest machinery. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy used or get another new one, if I'm going to get a Spark. If I did, I'd really hope there's like a 130 variant, a 170 variant, something crazy like that. Otherwise, you know, GTI 170 or a 230 is probably you know, gonna be it. If it's a little loud out here, I'm sorry, but yeah, anyway, just taking a look at this tricks right here. I mean, they are very interesting, and I will say the reason why a Spark is a little more interesting to me now is we have a boat. So the idea of needing storage so much and all that kind of stuff or whatever is kind of out the window. It's going to be more about just providing a fun time and you know, that sort of thing, and not really needing it to ship around everybody and that sort of thing. So, you know, a Spark potentially could be on the menu, who knows. And this Trix actually looks pretty nice. It looks a little better in person than the red and white kind of looks just you know, on screen. You know, extended deck there a little bit and stuff. You know, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, something like this, man, with like an extra 40 horsepower or so, crazy. So now that I've had some time to reflect on the Spark, I just want to add a few more details. So I really do think it looks very good in person, and that's something that Seadoo does very well with all of their skis. They just make it visually striking, and that's certainly the case here, even for the Spark, which is obviously the cheapest model they have. Now, some of the other little things I want to get into is kind of like the footwells. They're all molded, so is the same way with the Jet Blaster, and that's cool. It gives texture and so forth. And when I'm out on the lake, regardless of what I'm doing, but marine matting is really nice. So something that sticks out to me is it doesn't really seem like that's something that you can really add, because there's all these gaps, these contours, and I don't really feel like the 3M matting would stick very well. I'm sure maybe there's somebody out there that has done it anyway. Maybe you can get it to last or whatever, but that's just something that sticks out to mind. I don't really appreciate that the screen is still right in front of the seat rather than up ahead. I think they could have changed it by now, and obviously the new lineup is coming out at this point tomorrow. Actually today, I'm making this at nighttime, so maybe that's something else they're changing on the Spark. Really though, I do hope that there's more horsepower involved, because again, somebody like me getting back into the ski market doesn't need the ski to be an all-around everything. A fun toy like this with some actual get up and go would be awesome. Other than that, you know, the seat's pretty narrow and so forth, but obviously that helps it do tricks and whatnot. I just wonder how it's going to be like being on the ski for a long period of time. I get it, it's not a cruiser in that, but you know, you can spend a lot of time on the ski even if you're just ripping it up here and there. So I just wonder how that's going to feel. I do like the extended deck. Now I feel like they should have done something with it, some graphics, embossed it with something, but obviously that's easy to add afterwards. And this is really looking pretty interesting though, and I do like the adjustable handlebars. I think that's going to be pretty clutch. Obviously that'll even help with cruising and so forth and riding around in different stances, and especially with doing tricks and so forth, because you know that is the name of it, right? Doing the Seadoo tricks thing, right? So what else to say about this? I think really the key is just what are they going to iterate with it next. The new versions that are coming out for 2027 is going to be a pretty big deal for me as I'm going to search. So I'm going to move on and look at a few other skis and talk about those as well. But I'm really interested to get back into the market, look at some of these, and I can't believe that a Seadoo Trix is actually on the potential list of what I might get. SK Lifestyle, you already know, hit that like and subscribe button down below, all that sort of stuff. So the 2026 GTI 170 SE, I have to correct myself now, I'm so used to the 155 I used to have. You know, initially the first looks, obviously it's very similar to what I used to have. It looks very sharp. Definitely the one I had was more angular. There was a lot of kind of transformer looks. This one looks more sporty and luxurious, kind of flow. Nice. Aesthetically it's very nice, but I definitely kind of appreciated the more transformer look, more aggressive nature to it. Now you see me popping around looking here, and I was interested not to see that the battery wasn't located right there. That seemed a little off to me, and obviously it's in the engine bay compartment now. I see they changed the strut out to the kind of strut that they were using for some of the more larger models previously. Now I know a lot of these are sitting a little bit lower of a profile, and you know, I looking around here, obviously the colors are nice and stuff. The footwells still look pretty well designed. Those back pads look a little bit smaller, and the overall back deck looks a little bit smaller, but that's because they got the link system there now. So I guess it's a give and take. The link system is nice, and obviously you can take off the back third seat so that you can you know, have more space if you want back there. But I was used to having a larger kind of like marine mat back there, and it was very comfortable to be around, so that's kind of give and take. Now I will say definitely the kind of more ergolock type of seat that they have there is very well appreciated. Now you can see the batteries right there, so obviously it's in the front, it's not tucked way in the back. And I did check that hose that's right there. There's just a small little clamp that it's tucked in. You can easily pop it off the clamp, and I'm sure just, you know, push the hose to the side. But so okay, so you know, that's fine and everything, but it is very compact in there. So to have the same size engine just pumping out a little bit more horsepower, but everything is so much more compact, you can definitely of the ski is obviously the jump from 170 to 155. It's nice to have the actual 15 horsepower. I'm not quite sure it results in that much more speed. I know my 155 regularly would get up to 57, sometimes clip 58. I think one lucky time I topped 60. That was probably going downriver pretty fast, but it would always hit 57, and that's kind of the high 50s is what the new 170 is listed at. Obviously, you know, what it says on paper and versus what it's like in real life, I don't know. But what it does also say is that it's about a second quicker to its top speed. So that is very nice to see that there's a little more down end grunt and the acceleration is there. So I do think if I ended up going with the 170, I'd be pretty pleased with it. Although the fact that I'm looking at some of these tricks in the Jet Blaster, I'm starting to feel like even a ski like this might start to feel pretty big. Although it was agile, I flicked it around all the time, I really enjoyed it, and when you did have 2 or 3 people on there, it did feel very stable and you could do a lot of things. So I'm not 100% sold on the tricks or something yet, but it is funny that once you start looking at some of those other skis, you start looking at even like a GTI, like, man, this really is a boat compared especially to like the old 2-strokes and stuff. But yes, it is definitely in the running, and hard to say if a 230 is really necessary, but we'll see. So this is the Jet Blaster, huh? Alright, let's take a look. I definitely like the color right off the start. Definitely grabs you. I like the other year, the teal blue one, but this stuff looks pretty nice. Me and my daughter are gonna check it out. Say Jetski.
Jetski. Hi, Jetski.
Hi, Jetski. Okay, so just like I started talking about the other one, this one has the grooves on the footwells as well. Again, something that it felt fine. It wasn't like overly grooved where it felt like it was really abrasive. So if you are barefoot, at least you'll have a little bit of grip. Of course, you're probably gonna have some water shoes on, but again, it's just one of those things where marine matting is probably out. Now, I will say, you see the marine matting on the black, the graphics, by the way, the Jet Blaster on the bottom, awesome. Wish they had some of those graphics that you could have on the side of the ski, even if you purchase them aftermarket. And I'll get back to the matting in a second, but you can see here the stapling all looks really well. I've seen other videos when they first came out and they looked really terrible. So they obviously cleaned up that process, which is nice. TR1 engine in here, of course, and it is pretty tightly packaged as well, just like the GTI was that I showed. Certainly not room much for expansion in there, I don't think. So, you know, again, the marine matting on the back, that's one thing I want to talk about. It looks very cool, and I really appreciate the fact that they went with some crazy design back there. It doesn't just say Yamaha or Blaster in some regular font. But I will say the actual texture of it feels kind of, I don't want to say, it's not like sandpaper. Let me not go overboard and just, but it definitely has a more abrasive feel to it than like the really soft matting that you feel from like other Yamahas, and especially Seadoos, which is like the nice neoprene foam that you just, I mean, you could just sleep on it and feel so nice. This definitely has, like, if you see the lines, and I'm sure I'll get back to it in a second in the picture, like you can feel it. I felt it with my hands. I didn't put my feet on it, but I mean, if I felt it with my hands like that, I could imagine that it's not, it would still feel comfortable compared to just hard plastic, but I felt like it could have been a softer neoprene. So I'm not quite sure what that's about. Maybe somebody can comment what they feel like as far as the long-term, you know, capabilities of that. Now the overall look, obviously the Jet Blaster looks very interesting. One thing that I didn't understand is the silver part, it's not metal. For some reason I thought that that was like aluminum metal kind of bit, and the rest of the whole top deck was plastic, but that is plastic as well. So anybody wondering, maybe you already knew, maybe I was the last person on earth to get that, but I don't know why I thought that piece would have been metal, and I feel like it probably should be. Even if it's just a light skin piece, it would just make it look and feel that much better. But that said, you know, it still looks very good and I can appreciate it. And obviously you have the see-through piece down there. You can put a storage bag in there. Personally, if you don't need it, I probably wouldn't have it. I might buy it just to have it if in case you do need it, but I like the fact that you can kind of see through. It makes it more feeling like a toy, that's for sure. The seat felt pretty good. You know, whether you were kind of leaned back in like kind of like a sporting race position or whether you were just sitting down. Obviously this doesn't have the movable handlebars at all, but that's fine. One thing I will say, and I'm glad that I found, and I'm sorry, there was somebody on YouTube that I saw their video, I finally came across my feed, and I can't remember who it was at the time, but they actually commented on the same thing that I'm about to mention now, and that is that it really felt wide at the bottom of my feet. And I'm not quite sure if that's because the seat itself is so thin that you kind of push in a little bit with your thighs, and then it makes you feel like your ankles are out wider than where your thighs are. Because I mean, I had a GTI, and that's a pretty big seat right there to be sitting on, and I never remember it feeling like my feet were wider than, like, I don't know, the rest of where my leg position was. And I mentioned that while I sat on it, because I did sit on it at the dealership. I wanted to understand, like, if it was even something that I could feel comfortable on. And I felt like a lot of the position and styling of the handlebars. Now I will say that I felt like the deluxe handlebars are better than the regular MX handlebars that this comes with. The grips, I should say, not the bars itself. So I'd probably lean towards that way if I did end up getting one of these. But needless to say, the footing position is something that I am a little weary about, because if I notice that right away after sitting on it for a minute, then yeah, of course, if I got loaned the ski and I got to go out there and shoot a review video, I'm gonna talk about all the power and this and that, and you're gonna kind of get lost in the fact that some of these ergonomics is somebody that, if you're gonna have the ski for 20, 40, 150 hours, something like that may not be that comfortable. And maybe it's something that you get along with and it's really not a big deal. And I may actually get the chance to go test drive one of these. So if I do, I'll try to keep that in mind while I'm test driving it and having a lot of fun, because I'll be on a jet ski. But you know, those are things that you really want to pay mind to, and that was something that I picked up on. But the Jet Blaster overall is definitely appealing, and it is certainly on the menu for what's possible to be purchased next year. Now, Yamaha is certainly going to release their new lineup for 2027 in the next week or so, next week or two. So I'm interested to see what kind of upgrades they bring to the Jet Blaster. It seems like their whole rec light situation is going to get upgraded as well. I'm sure they're not going to let Seadoo just run away with it. And I just hope there's a war right now, and we're all the benefactors of it. So hopefully you appreciate this quick kind of, you know, just glimpse into somebody that's purchasing skis soon, that is getting back into the jet ski lifestyle. Yes, for anybody following my channel, I'm sorry, it's been a while, but it is finally coming to fruition and I'm getting back in. And so it is a lovely time to be getting back in. It's always fun to get back into jet skis, but especially when the whole rec light situation is going up, you know, and who knows, let's just pray that there is a power bump in some of these, because that would really position these to be something that I'm highly considering. I'm already considering it, and then I would highly consider it. So let me cut this short, but hopefully you appreciate it. There's going to be more videos to come, especially as the new release of Seadoo comes this week. I'll be doing videos on that, and then when Yamaha comes out, and then the whole kind of just you know, run through as I go and purchase and figure out what next ski I'm gonna get. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. Leave your comments down below. This is SK. This is SK Lifestyle. See y'all next time.